بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بسيدنا ومولانا الإمام زين العابدين عليه السلام، وجعلنا الله وإياكم من الطالبين بثأره بين يدي الإمام المنصور المؤيد المهدي من آل محمد. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. اللهم صل على الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد, Allah has granted us 6 and given us excellence in 7. Allah has granted us knowledge, generosity, eloquence, forbearance, courage, and love in the hearts of the believers. And He has given us excellence in 7, in that from us is the chosen prophet, from us is the truthful Ali, from us is the lion of God and the lion of His prophet, from us is the one who flies with wings, from us is the mistress of the woman of paradise, from us are the masters and the grandsons of the Prophet and of this Ummah. Those of you who know me, and those of you who don't, let me tell you about my status and my noble lineage. I am the son of Mecca and Mina. I am the son of Zamzam and Safa. I am the son of the best of men to have held the black stone and circumambulated the Kaaba. I am the son of the man who was the best of them to walk on the Sa'i. I am the son of the man who was taken by Buraq through the air. I am the son of the man who led the angels in prayer. I am the son of the man who was taken to Sidrat al-Muntaha. I am the son of Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. I am the son of Ali al-Murtada, the man who fought the disbelievers until they said La ilaha illallah. I am the son of the man who fought with 2 swords and with 2 spears and went on 2 migrations and prayed towards both of the Qiblas. I am the son of the man who fought at Badr and Hunain and did not disbelieve for even the twinkling of an eye. I am the son of the believers, pious one, descendant of the prophets, annihilator of the polytheists, commander of the faithful, glorious of the worshippers, honorable of the criers, and the best of them in prayer. I am the son of the man who was the lion of Iraq and the master of Hijaz. I am the son of the man who was the garden of God's wisdom and the man who was the arrow of God targeting the hypocrites, the inheritor of the Mash'arain, and the father of Hassan and Hussein, that is my father, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Allahumma salli. I am the son of Fatima Zahra, the mistress of the woman of paradise, and the lady who was deemed virgin and pure on the earth. I am the son of Khadijat al-Kubra. I am the son of the man who was killed on the plains of Karbala, thirsty with none to bury him. The first of our loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A second even louder salawat in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam was born in the 38th year after Hijrah and died in the 95th year after Hijrah at the age of 57. The Imam himself is an absolute colossal figure in the history of the religion of Islam. As you know, the Imam is revered by every single school in the religion of Islam. Many times when we talk about our Imams, we assume that only the Shia revere that particular Imam. But the reality is that in the Sunni world as well, Imam Zain Al-Abideen is revered as one of the greatest personalities to have ever walked on the face of this earth. If you go and look at Sunni Hadith literature, you'll find that there is a great amount of praise for Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam. A lot of the titles that we have for the Imam are not just titles in Shia literature. A lot of these titles that you see, such as Zain Al-Abideen or such as Sajjad and all these other titles, are titles that can be found in non-Shia literature. And that's why you find that without a doubt, Imam Zain Al-Abideen is a personality that every attribute of his is respected by all schools of Islam. Sadly, you find that many times Imam Zain Al-Abideen is not given the discussion that he deserves. If you ask many of us in our mosques which Imams are mentioned the most, you'll always hear that most people know about Imam Ali or Imam Al-Hussein. Isn't that true? As in if you were to ask many of the people how many of the Imams are there, they'll say to you 12. But when you ask them that which Imams do you hear about the most, or which Imams can you relate to the most, many times people will discuss Imam Ali, they'll discuss Imam Al-Hussein alayhim as-salam, but the other Imams we seem to know very little about. If you ask someone today even about Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam, and as you know, Imam Al-Hassan, when he's Imam number 2, it doesn't mean randomly he's number 2. No, it means that he is the highest personality after Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. There are many who do not know much about the life of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. There are many who don't know about Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. The reality is that each of these Imams is the light of God on earth that seeks to guide us not just then, but even now. If I live in Sydney in the year 2026, someone might turn around to me and say, what am I going to learn from someone who lived 1,000 years ago? The reality is for us human beings, part of the rational, intellectual convention of the human being is not when a person lived. Someone could have lived thousands of years ago, but today people are still learning from them. I ask you, how many today continue to learn from the likes of Aristotle, from the likes of Plato, from the likes of Socrates? Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates, did they live after Imam Zain Al-Abideen or before Imam Zain Al-Abideen? They all lived before Imam Zain Al-Abideen. Yet until today, you'll see that people still will quote, have you heard what Aristotle said? Did you hear what Plato said? Have you heard what Socrates said? So when someone turns around and says that our Imams, they lived in a different world to us, not at all. A lot of what we face in our lives, our Imams faced in their lives as well. A lot of what we're going through in our lives, our Imams faced in their lives as well. But the sad reality is that unless a person dissects the life of the 12 Imams, not two, not Muharram and Shahr Ramadan only. Shahr Ramadan, 21st night of Shahr Ramadan, everybody comes out to honor Imam Ali. 10th of Muharram, everybody comes out to honor Imam Al-Hussein. But on the 25th of Muharram, mashallah, all of you here in this masjid, may Allah bless each and every one of you. Because the reality is, you coming out tonight, you have left for yourself a legacy for the day of judgment. That you could stand on the day of judgment and say, Ya Allah, I came to honor Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam. Therefore tonight, I'd like us to open up in depth the biography of Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam. Who is this Imam? What is his heritage? What did he go through? What were his sermons? What were the lessons that we can learn from him? When you open up the biography of Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam, you'll see that there is an unbelievable amount that we can learn. Let's tonight open up this biography and learn about the trials, tribulations, but also the wisdom of the Imam. As I said, the Imam was born, according to many, on the 5th of Sha'ban in the 38th year after Hijrah. You know, in the month of Sha'ban, we normally honor 3 Mawalid in the month of Sha'ban, right at the beginning. You'll see that many of us will honor on the 3rd of Sha'ban, which Imam? Imam Al-Hussein. On the 4th of Sha'ban, who do we honor? Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. Notice a lot of people know Abu al-Fadl when he died, but many will not remember when he was born. On the 3rd of Sha'ban, Imam al-Hussein. On the 4th of Sha'ban, Imam Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. On the 5th of Sha'ban, we honor who? We honor Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam. Imam Zain Al-Abideen was born on the 5th of Sha'ban, 38th year after Hijrah. In which city? Some people thought that Imam was born in the land of Medina, but that wouldn't make much sense. Why? Because Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, in the 38th year after Hijrah, there is no way that he would have been where? There is no way he would have been in Medina. By that time, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen had moved the capital of the Muslim empire from Medina to which city? Kufa. When Imam Ali alayhi salam moved from Medina to Kufa, Imam Ali alayhi salam would have taken with him, Imam al-Hasan would have come with him, and the wives of Imam al-Hasan. Imam al-Hussein would have come with him, and the wives of Imam al-Hussein, Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. They all moved from Medina to Kufa. Many times people say to me, said, Ammar, why did they move to Kufa? They moved to Kufa because of the fact that Muawiyah, now firmly in power, Muawiyah was in Syria. If you move to Iraq, it's more strategic for you to be countering his espionage and his forces than if you were where? Than if you were living in Medina. And that's why, subhanAllah, sometimes in our communities, you'll hear people saying, Ahl al-Kufa, Ahl al-Nifaq, the Kufans, Munafiqs. You'll hear people saying this all the time. If Kufa was so bad, then why did Imam Ali alayhi salam move his government to Kufa? If Kufa is so bad, why is Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam's government going to be where? Which city will your 12th Imam's government be? Which city? Sydney? No. London? I doubt it. Which city will Imam al-Mahdi's house be? In which city? Kufa. Where will his house be? In which mosque? Masjid al-Sahla. Hands up over here. How many of you have been to Masjid al-Sahla? MashaAllah. Bless you all. Masjid al-Sahla will be the house of Imam al-Mahdi. And Masjid al-Kufa will be the office of Imam al-Mahdi. Therefore, those who want to come and say Kufa is bad, Kufa is evil, no. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen moved his government from Medina to Kufa. Therefore, Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam was born in Kufa. His mother, everyone focus on this please. His mother was an Iranian lady. The Imams would marry ladies from different countries. Sometimes a person could marry someone, for example, from their own culture. You'll have, for example, in this crowd, some of you may laugh. You may have in this crowd those of you whose mom makes it blatantly clear. We are only marrying from our day'ah. Yes? You're not marrying from anywhere else. Only from our village. Then there might be someone who says, no, not just from our village back home. We only marry, for example, from Arncliffe, let's say. I'm not, I'm not going to marry. What's Ardcliffe's rival, by the way? Just remind me. Bankstown. Bankstown? We're not going to marry. Is that what it's called? Bankstown? Okay. Banksia. May Allah bless you for correcting my pronunciation. Someone says that I'm not going to marry from there. Sometimes you might have a step further. Someone says, I'm, for example, Lebanese. I'll only marry Lebanese. Don't bring me no Iraqi in my face. Yeah? And someone Iraqi might say, I will not marry no Iranian. Iranian will say, I don't marry anyone but Iranian. Afghani, don't even come near there. The Iranian will say, I don't want Afghan. Afghan will say, I don't want Iran. There are people with these. Our Imams, we know that our Imams did not just marry from their city. If you look at the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, the majority of them married from outside of their culture. Now look, some of you may be looking at me and saying that I don't want to marry, don't encourage them. Let them only marry from us. Listen, at the end of the day, it's up to you who you marry. I'm not encouraging anyone to marry outside. But at the same time, notice that Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, when he wants to get married, he is wondering who to marry. Is it the country? No. When he was told that Hurayth bin Jabir, Shaykh al-Mufid narrates this, many times people assume that Imam Zain Al-Abideen's mother was an Iranian princess. How many of you have heard this story? She was an Iranian princess. She was the daughter of Yazdajerd, the king of the Sassanids. And when Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph, when he defeated the Iranians, then one of the ladies who was captured was a lady by the name of Shahzanan, or her name is Shahr Banu. And that this lady, Imam Ali alayhi salam said that I want her to marry Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Do we agree with this story? No, we don't agree. Now someone says, why not? Because if this Shahr Banu was captured in the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, and she got married to Imam al-Hussein at that time, Umar ibn al-Khattab, as you all know, died when? Umar ibn al-Khattab died around 24, 25, 26 after Hijrah. That would mean that Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam in Karbala would have been 36 years of age. Imam Zain Al-Abideen was 23 years of age at Karbala. Therefore, the idea that his mum was an Iranian princess captured in the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, that we reject completely. So what is the story then? The story is that Hurayth, the son of Jabir, came to Imam Ali alayhi salam and he said to him, there is this pious sisters. If you want, then you can have one of them for your son, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Imam al-Hussein married Shahr Banu, and Muhammad, the son of Abu Bakr, you know, Muhammad, son of Abu Bakr, was raised by Imam Ali alayhi salam. Abu Bakr had a son with Asma bint Umays. His son Muhammad was raised by Imam Ali alayhi salam. So Imam al-Hussein and Muhammad, son of Abu Bakr, they were what? They were brother-in-laws. They both married sisters. But for Imam Zain Al-Abideen, the first trial in his life, and please everyone underline this point. Sometimes people think that our Ahlul Bayt, they don't face the same tough life that we do. Sometimes when we face a tough life, we say, Ya Allah, why me? What have I done wrong? I'm a Muslim. I love Ahlul Bayt. Why is my life hard? Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam was born similar to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. That when they were born, one of their parents had already died or died. In which sense? The Holy Prophet, you know, when he was born, his father had already died. His mom gave birth to him, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his father, had already died. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, a couple of days after his mother gave birth to him, his mother Shahr Banu died. A couple of days afterwards. That means that Imam Zain Al-Abideen, from the beginning of his life, unlike many of us in this hall who, alhamdulillah, were born and then we grew up and we saw our mums, and we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we had our mums in our lives. Imam Zain Al-Abideen grew up, his mum was not there. Imam Al-Hussein and Shahr Banu, they decided on one thing, that we're going to name our son Ali. Notice how important this is. Why Imam al-Hussein? All his sons are Ali, Ali, Ali. Do you notice or no? In Karbala, how many Alis were in Karbala, my dear brothers and sisters? Ali Akbar, Ali Asghar, Ali Zain Al-Abideen. Imam al-Hussein famously was quoted as saying, if I had 1,000 sons, I'll name them all Ali. So, and you look at the Imams always, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ali Zain Al-Abideen, Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, Ali al-Hadi. Today, wallahi, sometimes when my friends call me, they like said, Ammar, is there any name you recommend for our sons? And I'll recommend them a name. They're like, wallah, we already have an Ali in our family. Habibi, inshallah, we have 1,000,000 Alis in our family. Yes? Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, you could not name him enough. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, sometimes the Imams would purposely name their sons Ali in the face of the haters of Ali. Those who were cursing Imam Ali, the Imams would purposely name their sons Ali, Ali, Ali. Someone says, but wait, isn't there too many Ali, Ali Akbar, Ali Asghar, Ali Zain Al-Abideen? Baba, the British royal family, every few years there's a new William. William the First, William the Second, William the 1,000,000th and 4th. Every few years, you hear there's a new George, George the 5th, George the 6th, George the 8th, George the 20th. Have you ever seen anyone say to them, wallah, there are too many Georges? Not at all. They say, we want to name as many as we want. Imam al-Hussein, alayhi salam, from the very beginning, him and his wife had decided the son will be called Ali, and Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein was born. And you know, the fact that he lost his mum, do you know when he grew up, you know, he would always show love for his stepmom because he never had a mum in his life. There is a famous story that he would sit on the dinner table, if we were to use a phrase, and he would not put out his hand to go and get a dish. Someone asked him, they said to him, why do you not do that? He said, because maybe my stepmother's eyes were on that dish. I didn't want to take it just in case she wanted it first. I ask him, I say to him, but that's your stepmom. Your dad married someone else after your mom died. Doesn't matter. My dad had every right to marry someone else because my mom died. What am I going to expect? That my dad lives the rest of his life not being able to get married again? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, as you know, Imam al-Hussein married a number of ladies in his life. Rabab, Layla. Imam Zain Al-Abideen treated each one as if she was his mother, Shahrbanu. Each one he treated as if it was his real mom. Therefore, on the first level, Imam Zain Al-Abideen grows up in that environment. There's a question. Why, for the first 20 years of Imam Zain Al-Abideen's life, we don't have much about him? Have you guys noticed this or no? Because if Imam was born in the 38th year after Hijrah, for the first 20 years, we don't have much about him. For what reason? For the reason being that when you live in the shadow of other Imams, you don't really have much to say. You think Imam Zain Al-Abideen would speak when his dad would speak? No chance. You think Imam al-Hussein would speak when Imam al-Hassan would speak? Imam al-Hussein would remain silent if his brother was speaking. Do you think that Zainab would speak when her brothers would speak? No. For the first 20 years of Imam Zain Al-Abideen's life, we don't have much about him. I cannot turn around to you and say, there's a great deal about him. But then when does he emerge? He emerges in Karbala and Kufa and Sham. Because in Karbala, he faces arguably the biggest test that anyone could ever face. In Karbala, it's one thing being in Karbala with your father, thirsty and so on. But it's another that you're not able to help your father in his final moments. Imagine, my dear brothers and sisters, your dad, before he dies, is asking you, just bring me some helper. Hal min nasirin yansurana. The one of the maqatil mentions that why is it, the question arises, many people ask, why Imam Zain Al-Abideen could not help Imam Al-Hussein at Karbala. Imagine psychologically how traumatizing that is. That you can't help your dad when your dad's in his final moments. Imam Al-Hussein returns back to the tents on the 10th of Muharram, having said, Hal min nasirin yansurana, amma min dhabin yadubbu an harami Rasulullah. When he said all of this, the hadith, the narration says that Imam Zain Al-Abideen suddenly said, give me a sword and give me a stick. And they said to him, why? He said, a stick so I may stand up and a sword so I can fight. Imam Al-Hussein, knowing that Imam Zain Al-Abideen cannot fight. Why could Imam Zain Al-Abideen not fight at Karbala? Two possible reasons. One reason is that he was ill and therefore could not fight. The other is that some scholars have alluded that he was injured in a skirmish 3 nights before the 10th of Muharram. You know, they didn't just fight on the 10th of Muharram. They fought on the 7th of Muharram. They fought on the 8th of Muharram. And then on the 10th of Muharram was the ultimate battle. Some said that he was ill. Others said that he was injured. When his father looked at him, Imam Zain Al-Abideen said, let me fight. His father said, oh my son Ali, if you were to go out and fight, then who would there be for the remainder of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt after me? Remain patient. And then he asked everyone to give their bay'ah. You all know Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam was beheaded an hour before Maghrib on the 10th of Muharram. After Imam Al-Hussein was beheaded, the army of Umar bin Sa'ad, because people always ask me this question, how did Imam Zain Al-Abideen get away with not being killed in Karbala? Don't you often wonder that this Umar bin Sa'ad and Shimr bin al-Jawshan and all of these, why didn't they kill Imam Zain Al-Abideen? They killed everybody else. Hamid bin Muslim narrates that after Imam al-Husayn's body was looted, you know Imam al-Husayn's body was looted, they took off his robe, they took off his turban, they took off his shirt, they ripped off his shirt, they ripped off his sandals and they cut his fingers and so on. After this happened, they came to the tent. You know what they did to the ladies in the tents? They ripped the veils of the ladies in the tents. And then they burnt the tents. Hamid bin Muslim narrates, Shimr bin al-Jawshan looked at Ali ibn al-Husayn when he was there. And Shimr bin al-Jawshan turned around and he said, kill this young man here and finish him. Hamid bin Muslim, who was a journalist at Karbala, narrates that I stood up and I said, listen, he's a helpless, sick young man. Have some manliness about you. The person is sick and he's young. And then Shimr turned around, there was a clamor, and then they said, you know what, you're right, just leave him alone. That is a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes in life, وَجَعَلْنَا مِن بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا فَأَخْشَيْنَاهُمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. Sometimes in life, we plan and you plan. Shimr bin al-Jawshan has no reason to leave Imam Zain Al-Abideen alone. Shimr just needs to do one thing. Give me a knife, I'll stab this guy, and there is no more Imam of Ahlul Bayt. To me, one of the miracles for us, the Shia, is Imam Zain Al-Abideen surviving Karbala. Wallahi. Because if someone comes and tells you, are you sure about the 12 Imams? I reply to that person when they say that to me, I reply to that person by saying, how Zain Al-Abideen survived Karbala, for me is one of the proofs of the Imam of Ahlul Bayt. Because it doesn't make sense how a person doesn't just pick up a spear, kill this person. And that's why Ibn Ziyad meets him in Kufa. Ibn Ziyad looks at him. What's your name? He said, I'm Ali, son of Hussein. He said, we already killed him. He said, that was another brother of mine. Subhanallah. Ibn Ziyad is about to attack him, and Sayyida Zainab stands up. And now we see the tag team and the combination of Zain Al-Abideen and Zainab alayhim as-salam. What a combination begins now. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, after Karbala, you would think he would be down in the dumps. No. After Karbala, the chest comes out of Imam Zain Al-Abideen. And this is a lesson in life. In your hardest moments, you have 2 options. One option is to say, life is bad, I don't want to see anyone else. The other is to put your chest out and say that, you know what, I trust God and we're going to get through this. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, even though his dad's head is on a spear, you know Ibn Ziyad, you know, by the way, if you want to search this hadith, go to Sahih Al-Bukhari. In Sahih Al-Bukhari, I want you to type the head of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. When it comes to the head of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, in Sahih Al-Bukhari, the narration mentions that Ibn Ziyad picked up a stick and started to poke the face of Imam Al-Hussein. This is not just in Shia history or Shia lectures. Ibn Ziyad was poking the face of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Zain Al-Abideen was not ruffled. You know what, do what you got to do. but we are going to stand in your way. Sayyidah Zainab, when Ibn Ziyad was about to attack Imam Zain Al-Abideen, she jumped. She said, if you kill him, you have to kill me. And the people of Kufa now, they turned on Ibn Ziyad. What's going on? You're attacking this family. Ibn Ziyad ordered that they are sent to Sham. When they were sent to Sham, they were sent towards the palace of Yazid. Do you know what they did to Imam Zain Al-Abideen? I want you to all understand. Imam Zain Al-Abideen is a wonderful human who faced trial after trial. Do you know when they got into Sham, the moment they got in, do you know what the Maqatil tell us? There is a line that says, when they walk through, how many of you have been to the shrine of Sayyidah Ruqayya in Syria? Some of you may have been. How many of you have seen Suq al-Hamidiyya and the Bazaar of Sham? Some of you may have been. When they were walking through there, one of the narrations says, they poured boiling water on the turban of Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam. Not hot water, I didn't say hot. If I said hot water, then someone could say to me, well, so what if someone pours hot water? I want you to imagine you're chained up, your neck is chained up. Some, you know the way that they were chained, some of the young ones had to tiptoe. Because if you're young and you have someone elder, the chain is going to pull your neck. They were chained to each other. The hadith says that someone poured boiling water on the turban of Imam Sajjad. Another hadith says that they threw stones at him. Eventually, when they got to the palace of Yazid, Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam with Sayyidah Zainab, they gave two of the greatest sermons you'll ever see. You heard me at the beginning of my majlis. Yazid had put someone on the minbar. Subhanallah, Yazid put someone on the minbar. You see what I'm sitting on? Yazid had put someone on this minbar. When he puts him on, do you know what he asked him to do? Curse Ali ibn Abi Talib as much as you can. That person was cursing Imam Ali. Imagine how Zainab felt hearing her father being cursed. That person was cursing Imam Ali alayhi salam. At that moment, the moment he finished, Imam Zain Al-Abideen turned around. Do you know what he said? Imam Zain Al-Abideen said, do you allow me to speak? Yazid said, no chance. The people said, let's hear what he has to say. There were dignitaries, there were ambassadors, they were all there. Said, let's hear what he has to say. Imam Zain Al-Abideen said, let me go up on those pieces of wood. Notice, he doesn't say, let me go, everyone focus please. Notice, he doesn't say, let me go on the minbar. Let me go and stand on those pieces of wood. So I may say that which pleases Allah. And that which is a blessing for the people. Notice in one paragraph, Imam Zain Al-Abideen summarized the whole meaning of Majlis al-Hussein. What is it? Number one, a minbar that curses Imam Ali should just be called pieces of wood. Subhanallah. He should say, let me go up on minbar. No. He says, let me go up on those pieces of wood. Your minbar doesn't deserve to be called a minbar. It should be called pieces of wood. Number two, so I may say that which pleases Allah. Whenever you give a majlis, your ultimate niyyah isn't to please Arncliffe or Masjid al-Zahra. Your ultimate niyyah isn't to please those who've invited you. Your ultimate niyyah is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then honor those who've invited you. Firstly, he says, let me speak. Yazid turned around. You know what Yazid said? Yazid knows what he's doing. Yazid turned around and said, if you're going to let this guy speak, then he's going to humiliate the whole of the family of Abu Sufyan. Yazid knew that if you let Zain Al-Abideen speak, then he's going to humiliate. And then he said to him, okay, get up and speak. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, literally, do you know where he was? He was in the lion's den. You ever heard the phrase, the lion's den? What's the lion's den? Imam is in Sham, the capital of the haters of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And so what does Imam Zain Al-Abideen do? Stands up and he blatantly in front of everyone says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored us with 6. And he has given us excellence in 7. He has favored us with knowledge. Listen to these attributes because this is what Ahlul Bayt expect from their Shia. He has favored us with knowledge, with eloquence, with generosity, with forbearance, with courage, and with the love in the hearts of our followers. Allah has given us the barakah of 6 things. You want to know who us Ahlul Bayt are? Allah gave us ilm, and He gave us hilm, and He gave us fasah, and He gave us all of these different attributes. And then He said, and Allah has given us excellence in 7. This excellence in 7, by the way, if anyone ever asks you, why are you Shia? Say, Allah gave us 7. Say, what do you mean Allah gave you 7? I just asked you, why are you Shia? No, Allah gave me 7. What are the 7? Number 1 from us is An-Nabi Al-Mukhtar. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Wallah, I thought your Aunt Cliff salawat would be better than this. Much louder, please. MashaAllah, may God bless you. Allah gave us a Nabi al-Mukhtar. Number 1. Who am I? I am the grandson of that man, correct? And Nabi al-Mukhtar. And Allah favored us, number 2, with the Siddiq of this ummah. Notice that's a bit of a stab. The Pakistani brother straight away and the Indian brothers will know straight away. The moment he said, and Allah favored us with the Siddiq. What does Imam Ali say? I am the Siddiq and I'm the Faruq. Anyone who claims those titles is a liar. True? Anyone who comes and says, I'm the Siddiq and I'm the Faruq. Allah, I'll hold back. I'm not going to go too deep into these things. 1 second. And from us is the Siddiq. Siddiq in English, what does it mean? Truthful. From us is the truthful Ali. From us is the Asad of Allah and the Asad of His Prophet. The lion of Allah, the lion of Prophet. Which man? Hamza. From us is the Tayyar. Which Tayyar? From us is Sayyidat al-Nisa, Fatimat al-Zahra. From us are the Sibtai of this ummah and the grandsons of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. In one line, Imam was making clear to Sham, us guys who have chains around our hands, from us there are 7 Allah has given us. Then he says, those of you who know me, know me. Those of you who don't know me, then let me tell you about my status and my noble lineage. I am the son of Mecca and Mina. I am the son of Zamzam and Salah. We made Imam Zain Al-Abideen sound like this man who's just sitting at home the whole day crying. Imam Zain Al-Abideen is a powerhouse. Imam Zain Al-Abideen saved Tashayyu'. The first way he saved Tashayyu' and Islam and made sure Karbala remained alive. Otherwise Karbala, on the physical level, if someone had looked at it, would have said Karbala was lost physically. But spiritually, Karbala was won because of Zain Al-Abideen. Imam Zain Al-Abideen said, I am the son of Mecca and Mina. I am the son of Zamzam and Safa. I am the son of the greatest man to have worn the robe and collected the black stone, and the best of them to do tawaf and to do the sa'i. I am the son of the man who was taken by Buraq through the air, and the man who led the angels in prayer, and the man who was taken to Sidrat al-Muntaha. That is my grandfather Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. And then after that, what do you do when you're in the lion's den? You poke the lion sometimes. So how do you poke the lion in Sham? You begin to narrate the fada'il of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Sham, for the last 20 years, all they've been doing every Friday is abusing Imam Ali. Welcome to Zain Al-Abideen now. Imam Zain Al-Abideen comes, he's in the lion's den, the haters of Imam Ali. Trust me, some of us, if we go to certain areas in the world, we're like really wary. Who's looking at me? I'm scared. What happens if they're going to find out I'm Shia? Imam Zain Al-Abideen is like, I am the son of Ali al-Murtada. I am the son of the man who fought the disbelievers until they said, La ilaha illallah. I am the son of the man who fought with 2 swords and 2 spears and went on 2 migrations and prayed on the 2 qiblas. I am the son of the man who fought at Badr and Hunayn and did not disbelieve for even the twinkling of an eye. I am the son of the believers, pious one, descendant of the prophets, annihilator of the polytheists, commander of the faithful, glorious of the worshippers, honorable of the criers, the best of them in prayer, the one who would divide them when they would come to him and scatter them as the wind does. I am the son of the lion of Iraq and the master of Hijaz. Imagine these lines, you're saying them in the lion's den. You're saying in the lion's den, I'm the son of the lion of Iraq and the master of Hijaz. And then after that, he continued until Yazid said, wait, stop, recite adhan. What's the best thing to do when someone is causing havoc? Is to straight away say, someone recite adhan, quick, quick, so we stop this guy. The mueddin went up, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Imam Zain Al-Abideen said, I affirm, God is the greatest. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. My body, my flesh, my skin, my bones all testify there's no God but Allah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahumma sallam. Imam Zain Al-Abideen looked at Yazid. Yazid, is Muhammad your grandfather or is he mine? If you say he's yours, then you're a liar. If he is mine, then why did you kill his grandson? Yazid kept them there. Majority, we could say 10 days, 12 days, 14 days, not more. Why? Because Sayyidah Zainab and Imam Zain Al-Abideen caused an absolute avalanche for him. And so what did Yazid do? Yazid turned around and said, what do you want? What do you guys want? They said, allow us to go back to Medina. Some said via Karbala. Some said straight back to Medina. Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam led them all back and they returned to Medina. You know, my dear brothers and sisters, Shi'ism, by the time Imam Zain Al-Abideen returned to Medina, do you know how many Shia remained according to the hadith? How many Shia remained after Karbala? 3. How many Shia are there in the world today? Nearly 300 million. How many? After Karbala, there were 3 Shia left. 3. Imam Zain Al-Abideen highlighted on the second level that after Karbala, it would be crazy for us to fight Yazid or to cause a revolution. True? So Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam, after Karbala, his political strategy wasn't just reckless. Sometimes you might have people who say that at all times we must be ready to jump and fight and attack and so on and so forth. There is a time and place for everything. Would you agree or no? I ask you, after Karbala, why is there no Karbala after Karbala? Have you ever thought about that? Did Imam Zain Al-Abideen fight the Bani Umayyah? Imam Al-Baqir, Imam Al-Sadiq, Imam Al-Kadhim, Imam Al-Rida, Imam Al-Jawad, Imam Al-Hadi, Imam Al-Askari. Why do none of them do a Karbala? Because they know very well there is a time and place for everything. After Karbala, Yazid attacked Medina and Mecca. You think what? Yazid only attacked Karbala? Yazid ordered, because Abdullah bin Hanbala had done a revolution against Yazid. When the people came to Imam Zain Al-Abideen, they asked him, do you support this revolution? Imam said, I'm not getting involved politically. Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam turned around, and that's why Yazid, when he ransacked Medina, he gave orders, do not kill Ali ibn al-Hussein. They said to him, why? He said, because I have no proof that he participated in the rise of Abdullah bin Hanbala. Some of the Shia were saying, let's fight, let's kill, let's have... No, wait. Don't get involved. Don't get involved. Imam, your dad is Imam al-Hussein, your dad is Karbala. Shh. Stay quiet. Otherwise, all of us are going to get butchered. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, then the Tawwabun have a movement. Many of you would have heard of the Tawwabun. Sulaiman ibn Surad al-Khuza'i. Some of these Tawwabun, what does Tawbah mean? Tawbah means what? To repent, isn't it? Tawwabun did not turn up to help Imam al-Hussein at Karbala. They repented. They said, we ask Allah for forgiveness, we let Imam al-Hussein down. They wanted Imam Zain Al-Abideen to be the one who tells them, go out and fight, go out and rise against Bani Umayyah. Imam Zain Al-Abideen said, we're not getting involved. They tried to fight Ibn Ziyad and so on. Eventually a few thousand of them got butchered. I asked Imam Zain Al-Abideen a question. And all of you over here are my brothers. And inshallah, some of you one day do masters or PhD in this subject, and we can learn from you, inshallah. I asked Imam Zain Al-Abideen, Imam, why did you not lead an army to avenge your father in Karbala? You are Zain Al-Abideen, and for majority of the Shia, if I'm going to be frank, majority of the Shia, theologically, the majority of the Shia believe that the Imam will have the power and the strength and the kun fayakun and. So I asked the Imam, why you didn't? It's a big question that the Shia have to answer. Why did Imam Zain Al-Abideen himself not cause this revolution? Abdullah bin Handala, he doesn't take part. At-Tawwabun, he doesn't take part. So then what does he begin to do? One of the ways in which you can do a revolution could be even through literature. And that's where you see a Sahifa Sajjadiyya. Sahifa Sajjadiyya today, you will see people call it a dua book. It's not a dua book only. Sahifa Sajjadiyya also has the aqaid of Ahlul Bayt within the Sahifa Sajjadiyya. Also, another of the books, Risalat al-Huquq, Imam Zain Al-Abideen. How many of the ad'iyah like dua makarim al-akhlaq? To slowly rebuild society. Why rebuild? Someone could say you could have easily picked up the sword. No, the sword is not always the best option. And that's why, how many Shia groups do we have, my dear brothers and sisters? In the Shia world today, we have 3 groups. One group is called the Zaydiyya, correct? And another group is called the Ismailiyya. And we are called the Ithna Ashariyya. Zaydiyya, part of their theology is that an Imam is from the line of either Imam al-Hasan or Imam al-Hussein, from the line of Ahlul Bayt, but he must rise against injustice and enjoin the good and forbid the evil. If he doesn't, he is not an Imam. The Zaydiyya believed that Zayd, the son of Imam Zain Al-Abideen, is the Imam, not Imam al-Baqir. People said, why? Imam al-Baqir is more knowledgeable. They said, yes, he's more knowledgeable. So why Zayd? Said, because Zayd caused the revolution against Bani Umayyah. Imam al-Baqir was silent, and the silent will not be my Imam. Interesting or no? The silent will not be my Imam. You've seen the Houthis in Yemen? Houthis in Yemen. The Houthis are Zaydis. Zaydi, Shia. In their ideology, you have to rise. Imam Zain Al-Abideen lived for 34 years after Karbala. He tried to reform society, either through writing, either through dua, either through books. Another way he tried to reform society was what? Was through his akhlaq. Believe it or no, some of the best tabligh you could ever do for Islam is through your akhlaq. Imam al-Sadiq used to say that invite people towards us without your tongues. Someone says, how can you invite someone without using your tongue? It's through your akhlaq. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, Karbala could have made him a nasty person, a horrible person. Because when you go through trauma, you can become very nasty to other human beings. I met people who joined gangs because they were treated badly. They end up attacking others. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, on the contrary, his akhlaq after Karbala made so many people join the school of Ahlul Bayt. One of his servants narrates, she says he was sitting down one day and I had some boiling water in my hands or some hot water and I tripped over and poured it accidentally all over him. She said, I looked at him and I was in a state of fear. Some narrate this even about Imam Al-Kadhim alayhi salam. I looked at him, I was in a state of fear. He had trained his servants that they were able to quote Quran so easily. Like how Fidda, the servant of Fatima Zahra, could quote Quran in the last 20 years of her life. Every time she gave an answer, it was just the Quran. So this servant says, the moment I accidentally poured the water on him, he looked at me. And when he looked at me, I looked at him and said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ. كَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظ means what? Those who restrain their anger. He said, I have restrained my anger. وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. And those who forgive the people. He said, I have forgiven you. وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. He said, I have freed you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine one ayah, the servant, because Imam Zain Al-Abideen after Karbala began to free a lot of slaves. He would find slaves in different parts of the Arabian world, and he would begin to free slave after slave after slave. And then he would teach these slaves. You know how many slaves would go by foot to Hajj with Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam. And that's why you all know in the title of his names where his spirituality comes from. Zain Al-Abideen, adornment of the worshippers. Sajjad, he used to be in such long sujood. That is where he found his reform after Karbala. And finally, Dhal Thafanat, which I said in my lecture a couple nights ago. One of his titles was Dhal Thafanat. Thafanat, when the camel's knee grazes on the earth, there is the calluses, the meat that comes out from the knee of the camel. Imam Zain Al-Abideen, from the amount of ibadah he used to do, there's sometimes they say 5 times a year he would have to scrape off the meat that was coming out of his forehead because of the amount of ibadah he used to do. Someone said to him, your ibadah is so great, no one is like you. He said, it is not half of the ibadah of my grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imagine. Ahl al-Bayt would always highlight that nothing brings them peace in their life as much as ibadah. Sometimes someone will say, when I'm going through a hard time, is there any pills I can take? Is there any medicine I can take? Ahl al-Bayt show us that apart from the medical diagnosis, which is for experts, one of the best ibadah you can do is to sit and talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to be in sujood to Allah. Why is he called Sajjad? Why? Do you think it's easy to recover from the 10th of Muharram? I think some of us would have killed ourselves if we saw the 10th of Muharram. I think some of us would have left this world. What made him survive? Putting his forehead on the ground and continuously saying Subhana Rabbi al-A'la wa bihamdih. And continuously reading dua, dua at-tawbah, dua makarim, dua for the parents, dua for everyone in the community, dua for grief, dua for distress, dua for worry. Every single area in the community, he would be reading dua for absolutely everyone. And then you had that period in his life. If there was one revolution where someone may argue that he may have supported indirectly, it was the revolution of Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. We said that Abdullah bin Handala, Imam did not publicly support. And nor the Tawwabun. But Mukhtar al-Thaqafi seems to have had a closer relationship with the Imam. As you all know, Mukhtar al-Thaqafi was in prison when Karbala happened. Shimr continued to live after Karbala. And Khuli continued to live after Karbala. Harmala continued. Who got revenge for all of them? You've heard the ayah, وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. Those who do oppression will eventually find out. The day will come back to you. When you have wronged someone, karma can be bad. And it'll come back one day, one way or the other. Shimr ibn Ziyad, Umar bin Sa'ad, Harmala bin Kahil, those who trampled on the chest of the Imam, all of them. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi took it upon himself to find them one by one. Yes? Eventually, Mukhtar, how do we know what took place in Karbala? Someone could say, you're making these things up. I don't know what took place in Karbala. One of the sources of how I know what took place in Karbala was Sayyidah Zainab remained alive after Karbala. Secondly, the son of Imam al-Hasan, Hasan al-Muthanna, Imam al-Hasan had one son who survived Karbala. Forget Qasim and Abdullah and the ones who were killed. He had one son who survived Karbala, Hasan al-Muthanna. He told us what happened in Karbala. The wives of the companions of Imam Hussein told us what happened in Karbala. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was 3 years old. He told us what happened in Karbala. Imam Zain Al-Abideen told us what happened in Karbala. But the one who found out the most what happened in Karbala was Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi was in prison when Karbala happened. Eventually, when he got out of prison, he said, Wallah, I'm going to catch everybody who hurt Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. One by one, I'm going to find them. Did he go and find them or no? Allahu Akbar when you hear the narrations of how he found them one by one. I want to know what's happened in Karbala. Mukhtar caught them one by one. One of the ones who he caught was Harmala bin Kahil. When he caught Harmala bin Kahil and the others, let's go through them one by one. When they caught Shimr bin al-Jawshan, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? He said, I was of those who beheaded Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. You know, there are two famous names who beheaded Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. One is Sinan bin Anas, and the other is Shimr bin al-Jawshan. This person, he admitted that I was the one who was involved in this. They caught him and they killed him. Another of the people who they caught was who? They caught one person. Mukhtar caught him. He said, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? He said, I am the one who cut the right arm of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Allahu Akbar. He said, Abbas was collecting water from the Furat. Sometimes in your lectures in Muharram you hear that Abu al-Fadl was coming back from the Furat, and then someone struck his right arm. Wallahi inqata'tumu yamini inni uhami abadan an wa an imamin sadiq najl al-nabiy al-tahir al-amini. That person, how do I know someone cut off the right arm? Mukhtar caught him. He said to him, what did you do? He said, I cut off the right arm. Mukhtar is narrated to have cut off his right arm as well. He caught another one. He said to him, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? He said, I cut the left arm of Abu al-Fadl. So when I now know what's happened on the 10th of Muharram, then he caught, after that, this Khuwalla or Khuli bin Yazid al-Asbahi. He asked him, what did you do? He said, I am the one who took the head of Hussein and placed it on a spear. What else did you do? He said, I ripped the earrings of the children of Hussein. He said some of his children, some of the girls were young. He said, after we had killed him, I saw one of them. She had what looked like some earrings. I came and ripped it off her ears. He said, that is what I had done. That's another one. Then they went to another one who they caught. Who was it? They caught these 10 soldiers of Umar bin Sa'ad. Mukhtar asked them, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? They said, Umar bin Sa'ad, after Hussein had been killed, Umar bin Sa'ad turned around to us and he said to us at this moment, O horse riders, ride your horses and trample on the companions of Hussein. Mukhtar looked at them. He said to them that, were you able to trample on the bodies of the companions of Hussein? They said, no, we weren't. Said, why? They said, because Hussein's companions, they were from Arab tribes who had cousins in Yazid's army. So when we were about to ride our horses on the bodies, imagine what animals these people are. These are lower than animals. When we were about to ride our horses on their bodies, one of the tribal members from Yazid's army would come forward and say, listen, you've killed our son. Don't humiliate our tribe by trampling on his body. So then after that, what happened? So then after that, we moved on towards the family of Hussein. Umar bin Sa'ad said to us, dig your hooves into the family of Hussein. So we said, who of the family of Hussein? And the reply that came was, dig your hooves into the chest of Ali al-Akbar. But Ali al-Akbar's mother, Layla, is Muawiyah's niece. Yazid and Ali al-Akbar's mom are first cousins. Layla is the great-granddaughter of Abu Sufyan. So they said, leave his body alone. He is related to Yazid. So then they asked, how about Qasim ibn al-Hasan? Qasim ibn al-Hasan's mother is a Fizari, and the Fizaris were well represented in Yazid's army. They said, you've already killed our boy, leave his body alone. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, trample on his body. But Abu al-Fadl's mother, al-Baneen, has a relation in the ancestry with Shimr bin al-Jawshan. Leave his body alone. Mukhtar said, then what did you do? They said, we asked, is there any body that lies on the earth of Karbala whose mother and father have no one to represent his body? Suddenly we heard a voice, only one body lies on the earth of Karbala, and there isn't a mother or father to represent that tribe. Said, whose body? He said, the body of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Mukhtar turned around, he said to him, so what did you do? They said that we began to sharpen the hooves of our horses. May Allah bless all of your tears on these moments. He said to him, what did you do? He said, we sharpened the hooves of our horses. These horses were not normal horses. Yes? There is a poem, I'm sure some of you have heard, Mullah Basim Karbala'i recite this latmiya, Umrur ala Jadath al-Husayn, وَقُلْ لِعَظُمِهِ الزَّكِيَّةِ. It's a famous poem. It's a poem from the time of Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam. It's not a latmiya that Jabir al-Kadhimi wrote or a latmiya that someone else wrote. No. This is written by the companion of Imam As-Sadiq. Walk past the body of Hussein and send your regards to his holy bones. Yes? In one of the lines, it mentions al-jiyad al-a'wajiyya. Jiyad are horses. Al-a'wajiyya are the biggest and heaviest horses anyone can ride. They said, oh, horse riders, ride your horses. Imagine Mukhtar al-Thaqafi is listening to the musibah of Imam al-Hussein by the one who is trampling. Oh, horse riders, ride your horses and trample on the chest of Hussein. We thought only one rib would be broken in Medina. We saw many ribs broken in Karbala. Yes? Mukhtar al-Thaqafi then went looking for who? For Harmala bin Kahil. Yes? Mukhtar, in the time of Imam Zain Al-Abideen, 5 years after Karbala, captured Harmala bin Kahil. When he captured him, he said to him, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? All of you are with, I want you tonight to take your hearts to Jannat al-Baqi' next to the grave of Zain Al-Abideen. Yes? Because there is no musibah in Medina. There is a musibah in Australia, but there's no musibah in Medina tonight. Medina has 4 rocks on sand. Imam al-Hasan and Zain Al-Abideen, Muhammad al-Baqir, Ja'far al-Sadiq, and next to them, al-Baneen. Yes? He said, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? You know what Harmala said? He said to him, I shot 7 arrows. 4 of them hit their target. He said, can you tell me about the 4? He said, yes. The first I shot on the right eye of Abul Fadl. Allah. He said, Abbas had lost his right arm and he had lost his left arm. He said, when he had lost them, Umar bin Sa'ad turned around to me and said, finish him. Let him not see his brother ever again. He said, I shot his right eye. He said, you know what happened? Normally when someone falls off their horse, they fall with their arms. He said, Abbas fell and the arrow went deeper into his eye. Allah. Then he said, how about the second arrow? He said, the second arrow I shot on the chest of Abdullah, the son of Hassan bin Ali. Imam al-Hassan's son, Abdullah, saw Abi Abdullah lying on the earth of Karbala with arrows all over his body. He ran out onto the battlefield. When he ran out onto the battlefield, the narrations mention his auntie Zainab said, come back, come back. He said, auntie, how can I come back? And my uncle lies alone on the earth of Karbala. He sat by his uncle's chest. When he sat by his uncle's chest, Harmala says, I shot him directly. He fell back by his uncle. He said to him, how about the third arrow? He said, the third arrow hurts me until today. Allahu Akbar. Harmala bin Kahil, who has no heart, says, the third one I shot hurts me until today. You all know which one. I don't need to describe to you. He said Hussein's 6-month-old baby was in his arms. He said, Umar bin Sa'ad said, kill him and finish him. He said, I shot that baby. Mukhtar said to him, when you shot the baby, what happened? He said, I saw the baby flap its hands like a bird flaps its wings. Allahu Akbar. Only Allah knows what Rabab saw at that moment when she saw her baby. And only Allah knows what Imam Zain Al-Abideen thought when he heard these lines. Allahu Akbar. Imagine that scene. Then he asked him, how about the fourth arrow? He said, the fourth arrow was the one I put poison all over. He said, but what happened with it? He said, on the chest of Imam Al-Hussein. Allahu Akbar. He said, I saw the whiteness of his chest and I thought that I was going to finish him with that arrow. He shot that arrow directly on the chest of the Imam. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi went ahead and he executed all of these. And then he executed Umar bin Sa'ad and his son. Yes, he executed them. Imam Zain Al-Abideen alayhi salam publicly did not say anything to support Mukhtar. But privately there is a hadith from him. Rahimallah al-Mukhtar. May Allah have mercy on Mukhtar. Why? فَلَقَدْ أَخَذَ بِثَأْرِنَا وَانْتَقَمَ لَنَا مِنْ عَدُوِّنَا. Because he revolted against our enemies and avenged what happened to us. What happened with him in Karbala remained with him all the way until he died. You know, my dear brothers and sisters, with everything that he saw, the man's principles remained the same. To the extent that in the middle of the night, in Sunni and Shia literature, wallahi, in Sunni literature, I have seen this in the seerah of Ibn Ishaq. He says, Zain Al-Abideen, in the middle of the night, when Medina would be asleep, would carry heavy bags of food and give it out to the poor, that when he died, the poor would say, where is that man who used to feed us in the middle of the night? Allahu Akbar. After everything that you saw in Karbala, how did you end up still giving out? How did you end up still being generous? Yes? How did you end up being kind? And that's why, without a doubt, even though he remained strong, every time he'd see water, he'd remember his father's thirst. His water from his tears would mix with the water that he would drink. And that's why the hadith would say, in kunta bakiyan fabki al-Hussein alayhi salam. If you were to ever cry, then cry for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. So on the one hand, whenever he would see water, he'd always remember what? He'd always remember his father. And then whenever he'd see a lady chained up, he'd remember his Auntie Zainab alayhi salam, because he had seen that everything that his Auntie Zainab went through is what exactly was the worst of whatever they faced in the courts of Yazid. And that's why many years later he would remember Karbala and what took place in Karbala. When he walked past the butcher, he'd say to the butcher, oh butcher, are you gonna give water to the sheep before you butcher it? The butcher would say, oh grandson of Rasulullah, your grandfather's the one who taught us to be compassionate to the animal before we kill the animal. He'd turn round towards Karbala and he'd say, Assalamu alayka ya bata ya Aba Abdillah. The sheep is given water while you lay on the earth of Karbala with no one to quench your thirst. Another time he'd walk past the graveyard. When he'd walk past the graveyard, he'd ask the caretakers and others there and the undertakers, he would say, when I die, will you bury me? They said to him, of course, as soon as you die, we'd bury you. You are the grandson of Rasulullah. With the tears flowing from his eyes, he would say that my father lay on the earth of Karbala for 3 nights with no one to bury his holy body. Imam al-Baqir narrates, he says that when my father was dying, the poison had surrounded his body. He said, seeing my father in such pain, I came and I hugged my father on his chest. He said, the moment I hugged him on his chest, he began to cry like I've never seen my father cry before. I said to him, Father, 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 why Why'd you cry when in a moment you'll see Rasulullah, in a moment you'll see Amir al-Mu'mineen, in a moment you'll see Fatima al-Zahra, in a moment you'll see Imam al-Hassan, in a moment you'll see Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Father, why'd you cry at this moment? The reply is a reply that breaks our hearts until today. He said to him, Muhammad, 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 my son, when I'm dying, you are on my chest, Allah. When I'm dying, you are on my chest, whereas you know who sat on the chest of my father when he lay on the ground. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون واللعنة الدائمة على القوم الظالمين. Ya Allah, let's all raise our hands, my dear brothers and sisters. Ya Allah, raise us with Muhammad and Al-Muhammad. We'll begin the question and answer. As soon as I come down, I'll go over then. We'll take all the questions you've sent in. But a small dua for all of us, inshaAllah. Ya Allah, our brothers all around the Islamic world, especially our brothers in Lebanon, our brothers in Iran. Ya Allah, bless them and give them peace and prosperity, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, the originators of this majlis, allow them to continue in their service of Muhammad and Al-Muhammad. Ya Allah, give us the ziyarah of Jannat al-Baqi' next to Zain Al-Abideen. Inshallah, one day we have a majlis in Baqi' next to Imam Zain Al-Abideen. And inshallah, one day we are having a majlis in Baqi' and in Medina next to the grave of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the originators and the organizers of this majlis and Masjid al-Zahra. May Allah continue to shower His blessings on this mosque, inshallah, and to allow this mosque to continue to be a place of service to Muhammad and Al-Muhammad. Let us recite a Surah Al-Fatiha in honor of all of your marhumeen, but before it, the loudest of your salawat.